Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast. And welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
B20, home on winter break from college. Frustrated with life and school, decide to go to church to pray. Parking completely empty. Friday night. Pray for like 20 minutes. Go outside for some fresh air. Decide to just do some laps around the parking lot cause I'm anxious. After about 10 minutes, I hear the door of the church swing open. I had been the only person in there. Out walks an older-looking person straight up covered in bandages. Not like a mummy, but looking straight out of a burn unit or some shit. Turns and walks into the woods beside the church. I'm in the middle of nowhere, and there is nothing in the woods for miles. Watch as they slowly limp farther and farther away until they are out of sight, and book it to my car. Worst part was a few days later. After Mass, wait until the father is done talking to most people. Quietly ask if I can ask him something. Tell the story about the burned person. He just gets this 1,000-yard stare that creeps me out more than the whole rest of the experience. Tells me not to worry, he's sure I was seeing things. If I need anything or need to talk, he's always there. Feel a little better, but still curious. Father takes his own life 2 days later. Community gets hush-hush about it. Never bring up the conversation with anyone else.
Be me. Around 10 or 11, don't remember the exact age, roaming Roblox forums, dodging groomers. On-off topic, basically JV/B/. See a thread titled My Online Demon Story or some shit. Pretty into esoteric shit, even at that age. Click. Some chick, 14 years old, telling people that she had been haunted by a demon that had been tagged onto her by some dickbag online. Says she doesn't care if people believe her. Tells people to DM her if they want the full story. Intriguely colored. DM her. Takes her a few hours to respond. Chuckled to myself, she's full of shit. Check DMs the next day. Completely forgot about her. My story. Basically, when she was about 10-ish, she had some sort of demon attached to her by some anon online. Not some creepypasta shit either. Paranormal shit started happening to her almost immediately after and tormented her for years. She tried to share her story online elsewhere at some point, but when she typed the name of her tormentor and hit post, her computer went up in flames. Explains how the firefighters that tended to her after couldn't explain how the fire started, only that the fire indeed did happen. 10-year-old me scared shitless. Girl then reiterates that she doesn't care if I believed her or not, and that I would be foolish to try and look further into this myself. Ends with her getting help from a priest doing priestly shit. Haunting ends not too long after. She was probably full of shit, though this was before the whole creepypasta and online haunting shit took off in the mainstream, so honestly, who the fuck knows?
Not paranormal, but still creepy. Live in the outskirts of a small town. Thousands of acres of farmland and forests as far as the eye can see. Do what small town kids do and have fires in the summer. We have a cool set of trails in the forest area of a farmer's property. The farmer is sort of an asshole to us. Like he doesn't want us on the land. We go on his property anyway. The terrain is really rough and overgrown. Luckily, me and my buddy had 2 Jeeps, so 8 of us pile into the trucks and go into the woods. We start going hundreds of acres down old tractor paths until we reach a nice clearing with an existing fire pit. The forest is alive at night with the sound of crickets and coyote howls. We start the fire and start cracking open some beers. The night was going pretty well, but then we heard an ATV coming from out of the bush. A guy in his mid-30s hops off, looking like he just escaped from a crack den. He asks if he can join us and we hesitantly agree. He hops off the machine and starts trying to talk to us. Don't know what it is, but the guy seems a little off. Seems sort of antisocial, like he hasn't talked to another person in months. Reeks of alcohol too, clearly drunk. Our whole group goes pretty silent, almost as if we all unanimously want him to leave. He apologizes a lot as he talks, even for a Canadian, saying, "I'll leave if you don't want me here." We tell him it's all right if he stays. We toss him a beer, hoping he'll loosen up a bit. He drinks one, asks for another. Luckily, we brought a 24 with us. He starts telling us about how he went to jail for murdering someone. Details were foggy, but he got in a bar fight with someone and killed him with a bar stool. He was in prison for 10 years but got released on good behavior. The girls are starting to get a bit nervous now. My buddy steps up and says that we're all probably going to pack it in soon. The guy starts looking pretty upset. He tells us he hopes it wasn't him that is causing us to leave. We lie and tell him that we have to drive our friends home, and we're about 25 minutes away from any roads. He understands and says that if any of us need to crash, he's got a cabin that's only a 5-minute walk away from where we were having our fire, and that he would make sure we'd be all set up for the night. We respectfully decline and leave the forest. To this day, we've unanimously decided to not go into that area of woods again. But others have been out there on quads and trucks and have claimed to have found a rundown cabin in the woods without knowing the history of the man living inside.
I'm a runner who lives in a rural area. Be on a night run, enjoying the total silence and darkness. There's a part of my town where there's no streetlights, and it takes at least 5 minutes at top speed to see light again. 2 a.m. I'm running on the road. Notice a silhouette standing in the bushes, and it's at least 6'4". Think the worst and I keep alert while holding my pocket knife. Then 3 people come sprinting after me after I pass. Adrenaline is pumping everywhere in my body. Decide to keep running and running in hopes of losing them. But the sounds of their footsteps keep getting closer and I'm exhausted. Decide to turn around and try to defend myself with the small pocket knife I mentioned before. Then headlights appear. The 3 people are running back to the bushes. I stand there shell-shocked while pointing my knife at the truck that's approaching me. The driver stops and tells me to get in because he saw them chasing me. Would have died if it wasn't for some night driver conveniently being at the right place at the right time. If he had arrived 30 seconds earlier or later, I would be a victim to a crime. Rarely run at night now, and if I do, I avoid that road.
This happened some years ago, a few weeks after my cat passed away. Just for the record, she used to walk around the small apartment I was living back then, starting on the kitchen, walking the way to a small balcony, and every time she passed in front of the door of my bedroom, which was in the way to the balcony, she would take a look at the room, checking on me, I guess, and continue her walk. So this was like 2 or 3 weeks after. It was a little after midnight. I was playing online and stopped because the chit-chat with some friends was more interesting. Had Messenger and Raptor open at the same time, talking with a friend on Raptor about some pranker stuff that were done in a forum we used to visit, and planning about how to open the eyes to the other users, aka how to mock the other forumers for being such morons. Stopped because I heard some noises, like if my cat were in the kitchen. Maybe another cat entered the home. Happened a few times before, like visiting my cat. Told my friend about the noise and told him I'm gonna check. Took a look in the kitchen. Nothing. It's empty. Checked the windows. All closed. Even checked the bathroom. The window had no glass, only some iron bars as protection. Empty. Double-checked. Again the kitchen, even under the table and chairs. Nothing. I said to myself, I am just missing my baby purr friend, and got back to my room. Continued the chit-chat, planning our counterattack. Heard the noises again. Stopped the chit-chat. Took a look at the door of my bedroom. It's open. Then it happened. A shadow cat appeared. Its form was too well defined, but the border of the figure was all blur. Walking like my cat used to do, from the kitchen to the balcony. When half of its body had appeared, the shadow cat moved its head, like looking for me. At this moment, it disappeared. Told my friend, I think it's time to sleep. Talk to you tomorrow. I just turned off the PC and lights and went to sleep.
Freshman year of college. Come back to the dorm room after working in the library. About 7 p.m. older guy with a dark suit, dark hat, and clipboard talking to my roommate. Grandpa come to visit? Says he's from the Census. Asks us questions about a history of violence in the room. Asks if there's been any domestic abuse. Asks us a bunch of other shit. Don't really remember the other questions, but not typical Census survey questions. Doesn't explain why he's here at our dorm in particular. Does give us his name and Census office contact. Census guy leaves eventually. Ask my roommate if he knows him. Has no idea who he is or why he was there. Just showed up about 20 minutes before I got back. Told our RA. WTF. Solicitors, government or otherwise, aren't allowed into the building unless they have express permission from the staff or resident or an arrest warrant. Says he only talked to us. Nobody else in the building. RA doesn't know about any violence in the room outside of a fight that happened a few doors down from us 2 years ago. RA talks to other RAs in the building and nobody saw him come in, and we were the only room he went to. Looked up the contact info he gave us. The office doesn't seem to exist. The phone number is disconnected. Did we meet a glowy? A man in black? Did we have our memories wiped? Strangest thing that ever happened to me for sure. That dorm was creepy in general. Overlooked a cemetery for one. Shit would fall over all the time despite having a reasonably stable base. My roommate claims to have heard conversations and papers shuffling while I wasn't home. Our RA also claims to have heard loud stomping and a male shriek coming from our room over winter break while the building was empty. Sounded clear enough that he opened our door with the master key, but nothing was there.
Not the scariest, but this happened to me on Thursday. Be me. Be 23. Renewed my lease to my apartment last week. Apartment's pretty nice. I live just off a university campus, but there's only like 2 students that live here. One is a single mom, the rest are couples. Lived here for a year and I still haven't seen most of my neighbors. I hear music from upstairs, but it's always in the afternoon and it's not too loud, so it's never been an issue. Wake up on Thursday to the very distinct sound of banging. It sounds like furniture being moved. I'm groggy as hell, so I don't think too hard about what I'm hearing until it gets more intense. That's when I hear the very distinct sound of sobbing and a man yelling. Start actively listening. Fucking stupid. Something. Please stop, I didn't do anything. Wake up my roommate to make sure this shit is real, and so I have another person to back me up. Call the cops. Shit's still going down when they arrive. There's like 6 of them. 2 outside, 4 inside. 2 that went upstairs, and 2 at my door pressing me for details. As soon as they knock on the upstairs door, shit goes completely silent. Then, nothing. Get asked by the blokes downstairs if I heard anyone leave. Tell them no. Roommate confirms. Knock again. Still nothing. They knock a 3rd time, this time saying they're the police. Someone comes to the door. It's a girl. She sounds college age. Definitely early to mid-20s. Definitely a bit shaky in her voice, like she just got done crying. "Sorry, this is embarrassing. I'm the only one here." Cops ask if she wants to talk. She declines, wishes them a good day, and shuts the door. Then they just leave. The minute the cruisers turn the corner, the yelling and sobbing start back up again. How the fuck did the cops know it was coming from this apartment? It's your fucking screaming, is all I can make out. After that, someone turned on the shower and fan to drown out the noise, and the sobbing sounds muffled, but it's still clear as day. Honestly, I thought he was going to drown her in the bathtub or something. Eventually, shit calms down and goes quiet, and my roommate and I just kinda sit there. What were we even supposed to do at that point? 2 days later, I wake up to the same crying. It's just the girl. I can't hear anything else. I secretly hope whoever is hurting her will come back, just so the cops will actually do something to help her.
This was about 20 years ago when I was in high school. Me and a buddy were parked near some railroad tracks on what was the outskirts of town at the time, listening to the radio. It was right at sunset, so it was getting dark fast. Still enough light to see the field we were in. Right next to a road that was dead by 8 p.m. back then. So we are pretty high by the time it's actually kinda dark. So I crank the car up to pull back onto the road, and my taillights illuminate a weird figure behind us. It wasn't an animal I've ever seen. It was standing on 2 legs. It was like a shimmering gray color and had a fat, round head. I just stared at it for a minute in disbelief. Then it started walking closer to the car, taking some weird, small steps. I frantically started pulling on my friend's shoulder for him to turn around and look, because I was speechless. He also didn't even say anything and just stared at it. Then he starts screaming, "Go, go, go." And I put it in drive and kick up tons of dirt, making huge plumes of dust that hide the creature. I get back onto the road, do a U-turn, and wait for the dust to clear with my foot on the brake ready to haul ass. But I still want to see it. Again. I was thinking maybe I'm just high and paranoid. I'm already a bit embarrassed reacting like that. Nothing was there, Lowell. Then, out of the settling dust, I can barely make out this thing peering out of the tall weeds. It looks like a fat kid in a goblin costume is the only way I can describe this. It even has ears on top of its head. That was enough to spook me again, so I sped away. I went back to that place many times over the years when I would visit my old hometown. But there is a shopping center where that huge field used to be. The goblin's home is destroyed for sure. Kinda sad, really.
So this is a summary of a few experiences I had during my adolescent life in the woods. My family and I had moved into an old late 1800s cabin up in nowhere, North Idaho, that was smack dab in the middle of the woods. If you want an idea of the place, you all can probably look up Moon Gulch Road, Kellogg, Idaho on Google Maps or Earth or whatever. You'll be wanting to head up the North Fork of the road. The last building along the canyon is the cabin I lived a decade in, where I was heavily sheltered, got in touch with my natural side, ran into a lot of paranormal stuff, ran into a lot of wildlife shenanigans, and conceived my first child. It's a really important place to me. Anyway, without going off on too much of a tangent, let me give you a bit of context on the land. So the cabin is surrounded by mountains. That's it. It's settled in a narrow valley, and there's a freshwater creek running through it. Also, my aunt is buried in her Camaro on the property along with her few animals. Also, Apparently there's some white supremacist stuff and some cool unstable explosives. Normal mining town bullshit. Oh, and on that note, mining portals galore. Like cave entrances, not like portals to other dimensions. My family raised me to be miscellaneous Christian. Not entirely sure what we were supposed to believe, but I'm sure we were Baptist or something like that. My dad was a Catholic. Just worshipped the whiskey bottle as his saint, though. My mother, although being devout, was heavily into the paranormal. So I take my experiences with a grain of salt, considering how I now understand how the power of suggestion works when you have a mother who's way too X-Files and probably autistic. Probably. But there are just a few circumstances that bugged me about the place. So anyway, here's the actual summary. Fairy rings all over the place. Just all over the damn place. Little dangast mushrooms in their dangast circles. Dang. Not just in the woods, but even in populated areas. Constant low to the ground, strange lights. Like orbs. Like just weird balls of plasma that'd manifest and vanish. Or sometimes they'd dart around a lot and then vanish. Never knew anyone to get struck by them, but they became a, look at that sort of thing. Everyone up there will absolutely chit-chat about their shadow people experiences. This is one of those ones you gotta watch out for so that you don't get caught under the spell of suggestion. But I've had my own fair share of those as well. This one isolated experience I had where I was hanging around in the woods and just saw a flat shadow on the ground. Just a circular shadow. It went around for a bit. I looked up in the sky to see if it was some bird, but the canopy was much too thick. It was just some freaking damn shadow on the ground. Nothing happened from it. I just kinda left. Then there was this one instance where this weird, smelly, hulking, hairy thing was sitting in the deer thicket watching us while we were out in the yard. Our goats, horses, and chickens all froze to watch it. Elk had run out of the thicket, precluding this. We found some fur on our barbed wire fence that was ginger in color. Sent it off. DNA didn't match anything, or so at least I was told. So there's your possible snatch crotch. Also, sometimes smelly sulfur or brimstone smells, but you know, mines everywhere and explosives. Also, probably just people blaming their farts on demons, LOL.
I saw something that was pretty scary when I was about 15. Shattered my worldview when I was 19, when my mum admitted to seeing it too. Now for context, up until my worldview was shattered, my philosophy was atheist and dead universe-based. I entertained the idea that maybe this is some grand dream of some sort, but I thought if the scientific method could get us from toiling in agriculture to exploring space in a few hundred years, it must be onto something. I stumbled across Dissection, Black Dragon, on YouTube when exploring some new tunes and thought it was pretty good. Did some more exploring and liked the entire album. Read up about it and learned the guy topped himself after making it. Surrounded by candles with a grimoire open. Started reading up more about his philosophies. Started exploring more heavier and darker black metal. Explored the logic and reasoning behind occult worship and agreed with it. Tried contacting some entities for shits and giggles and felt this overwhelming sense of power, like when your muscles feel pumped after a workout, but in a spiritual sense. Liked it. Did it some more. My life started falling to shit around me coincidentally. Stepdad left the country to be with his son, had a brilliant relationship with him. Left my own abusive father after years of mental abuse, him dragging it out to the courts, and threatening something new every week. Girlfriend cheated on me with my best friend. Lost my only group of friends over it. She threatened to top herself if I left, and foolish me stayed. Major mental health issues, that girl. Coincidentally started getting dark thoughts. Had major stress at school with the A-levels. Went from A-B student to D-E student. Started skipping frequently and realized my career dreams of the military academy were over. In the middle of all this is what I saw. It was 12 a.m. and I was parched, needed a drink before heading to bed. Felt a deep pit in my stomach about opening my bedroom door. A deep, primal fear of the dark. Thought to myself, I'm not a kid anymore, this is silly, but I couldn't do it. For 30 minutes I sat there too parched to sleep, dreading opening the door, slowly seeing things appear in my vision, much to my horror. The longer I had my eyes open, the more black eyes, then mouths, then fully fledged faces would appear in the walls, starting from the corners of my vision and inwards. I'd blink and the cycle would repeat. After about 30 minutes, I was too thirsty and just had to go out and drink. I thought to myself, I'm tired, just been playing video games, and I'm imagining things. I hovered over the door for 5 minutes. Doorknob turned, but door not open. Finally, I opened it up, and as I glanced to the end of the hall, I saw a blue-white flash and focused on it. Staring back at me was a gargoyle-looking thing made of smoke. It was darker than the darkness around it. Orange-red eyes piercing my soul. Big, ugly grimace smile. Little claws and wings and belly and bizarre-looking legs. Felt my heart stop as soon as I saw it, and I froze with something a bit beyond fear. Just us, silently having an eye contest for probably 5 to 10 minutes, but what felt like eternity. My mum's room was right next to mine, and I saw it out of the corner of my eye and made my move. Smashed open her door and shouted, "Mum! Mum! I think I saw something in the hallway." Thought it might have been the cat, but it was snuggled on Mum's bed. Mum checked the hallway, and what I thought was a preemptive jump before telling nothing is there was actually her seeing the back, tail, and arse of this thing moving around the edge of the hallway to the front door, as I was later told. I don't recommend anyone to contact these entities. They seem to feed on fear, pain, sadness, and anger, and will cause it in your life.
Dad lost his mechanic job. Under new management, they cleaned house and rehired an all-new crew, then became a truck driver when I was around 7 years old. He soon started meth, after having done no drugs before in his life, to my knowledge, and became a different person. He would come home in a rage for no reason and beat my mom, closed fist, loud screams and cries constantly. I still hear them in my nightmares. He also started messing around with crack whores, would bring them home sometimes to take a shower before they would leave again for the weekend. Always told us it was his friend. Mom would keep us away from him as much as she could. He would beat her for not letting him see his kids, and then he would scream at us but never actually touch us. He would threaten us all individually that if we ever told anyone about him hitting Mom, he would kill someone. He told my brother and me that he would kill our mom and grandma. And he told my mom he would kill both of us and our grandma. He then had to leave for work for about a week or so, come back and terrorize us again. My brother and I began wetting the bed and sleeping with our mom every night. She would pray for hours. She called my grandmother and told her what happened, and she said, "Why are you putting up with this? Just leave. The terror won't stop unless you make it stop yourself." So she never told anyone else about our abuse and never called the police. We also told no one. I developed extreme anxiety. I would bite my nails and the skin on my fingers until they bled all the time. I chewed and ripped the skin off my lips. I ripped out my eyelashes. I would scratch myself very hard over and over across the top of my arms. Always had weird red streaks and claw marks on my arms. I would cry almost every day at school in the bathroom and stop talking to my friends. I sat alone at lunch and would sit on a bench alone at recess. I had no energy or motivation to play, laugh, or fake any kind of happiness. My teachers didn't seem to care in the slightest. The final straw was when I was at a cousin's house when this happened because I didn't want to be home while he was there. He beat my mother into unconsciousness, and my 4-year-old little brother tried to pull on his shirt to get him off of her. For the first time he hurt my brother, he picked him up and threw him into the wall. The back of his head had a very huge knot, but he didn't pass out or anything. My dad was staggering around and started packing bags, and my brother slowly got up and pushed through our big doggy door to try to tell the neighbors. The neighbors called the police and ambulance. My dad ran out of there and disappeared for months. We know now he stayed with multiple girlfriends, fellow trucker friends, and his parents. Couch hopping for a while. The ambulance took Mom to the hospital. My mom was hospitalized and had to have a few surgeries. I'm not going into details because I don't want someone to search these details and dox me because it was in reports. My grandma got me the next morning and told me everything that happened in the car. I have never wept like I did that day ever before. I haven't since. He soon overdosed and died. I was so relieved that he died. My love for him was completely gone, but my brother still cries about missing the old dad. Fast forward, my brother and I are older now and living on our own. He has a career in another state, and I stayed close to home because I want to be close to my mom. My mom won't stop dating people who are pieces of shit abusers. They don't hit her, but they scream, break things, whatever. I begged my mom to leave and come live with me. I stay over there as much as I can because I feel like eventually they will put a hand on her. I caught my mom's boyfriend with pain pills with someone else's name on them. A weird rage overcame my entire body. I broke a vase on the table and held onto part of it. It had sharp, jagged edges at the end. I told him if he didn't leave the house in the next 5 minutes, his life would end right here. He fucked out of there, and his parents came the next week to gather his things. My mom was so furious at me, didn't speak to me for a few days. I found out she picked up smoking cigarettes and started drinking. I don't know what to do anymore. We have never had any kind of peace or healing. Please just let my mother find some kind of happiness and real love in life, please. Also, since threatening her boyfriend, I have dreams about confronting my own father in that way and brutally killing him. I hate how fucked up I am because of him. He ruined all of us.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more Greentext will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.